who is going to take the initiative to start off. So what I'll do is I will stop now. I'll give a few minutes. When you're comfortable, feel normal. I mean, this is not the end of the world, right? Today, just have a sip of water if you feel. Go for it. I mean, it's a very exciting thing, to do a GD. Tomorrow you can say that, madam and the team facilitated. And if you get over this, you'll be very comfortable, right? The next step, I also asked video resumes start, be, online connected. That is the world we are. Fantastic. You will always keep that till you get your first job. So that is my promise to you after this session. So go for it. A couple of minutes preparation, and then we will get started. I know somebody will take notes. Later we will do, we will not put you on the spot or embarrass you, but we'll do some debriefing later on if we have time. Yeah, go for it. Thank you. So at least 3 minutes prep time, or if you're all comfortable, we'll get started.
I'll start, sir.
Announce your name first. Yeah.
I am Prakriti Sharma, sir. So social life does not restrain only to, like, social life is anything that involves human beings. People around you is important, but somehow because of COVID-19, the lockdown, we haven't been really able to our family. But I think this on a human level, in the physical, it has a lot of effect, because we can't really, it's not same as before, it's different. But on a emotional level, I think we could manage it if we wanted to, because all the time most of us are with our families. We don't usually get this much time with our families, so we've been working on our relationships with our families. I hope it's getting better for everyone. For me, it is. And COVID-19, okay, yeah, I obviously haven't been able to meet my teachers and friends, and I am missing all of that. My life isn't on schedule. I have never been home for so long. It's almost a month now. But I think this has also given me a chance to work on myself as a human being. I've been working on the skills or the things that I wanted to work, but I did not ever get a time. Even the vacations or the summer break we got, I always had something or the other to do, or I was just going out with friends. So I never had this time to myself where I did not have any option but to stay at home. So this has made me come up with new ideas. It has made people come up with new ideas. Everyone's doing their own thing. They're working on their own skills. So at the end, I think it is benefiting people, but on a personal level. Yes, on a social level, I do not meet my neighbors so often. I do not meet my friends so often. But on a personal level, on my family level, it has obviously been beneficial more than before. Thank you, sir.
Will I go next, sir?
Please.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Anushka Sen from the ISC second year. So COVID-19, as we know, it has created so much of difference in our day-to-day lives. It's a global health pandemic. It's a crisis, and it has had a huge impact on our lives, on how we perceive the world around us and how we perceive our everyday lives, our day-to-day activities. To contain the spread of this disease, we have been put into quarantine. There is social distancing. And by refraining us from doing what is inherently human, what actually makes us human, that is from stopping us from interacting with other people. And so obviously it has had a huge impact on our social lives, because at the end of the day, we are human beings who are societal animals. So from restricting us from from having that basic aspect of what we are, as humans are, it has created a huge impact on our psychological health, on our mental health, on our physical health as well. So like Prakriti said that it has had a huge impact on our physical health, because we are sitting at homes, and our mental health, we are not being able to interact with people as much. Yeah, it is a boon for some of us, because we get a break from our everyday stressful life, not going to work, or not going to colleges and schools and all. But I would like to stress on the point that it is also a curse for many of the people out there who do not have such of a stable environment in their homes that we are fortunate enough to have in our home. Maybe every one of us is not fortunate enough to have a stable home environment, which will lead to an increase in their anxiety, in their stress level, because they don't know how to cope up with what they are facing right now, especially with the children, with the growing teenagers. It's a time of uncertainty. If they do not have that support that we get at home, then it will just increase the anxiety, it will increase their stress. Also, about the elderly people, if we do not make them understand what is actually going on, so it can be a very a time of trial for them, which will not only have an impact in this time when the crisis is going on, but also when the crisis gets over, it will have an everlasting impact on their mental health, on their psychological health. And as we see that our social lives have been brought to a standstill. Till like just 2 months back, we were going out, we were going to our work, our colleges, our daily activities. For recreational stuff, we were going to parks or theaters or shopping malls. And suddenly we have been pushed back to our homes. We have been made like a caged animal. Some days back, we used to see animals in the zoo, and today I don't think there's any difference between them or us. We are just like caged animals. So a sudden stoppage in a normal way of life have caused a huge disrupt, and we need to take certain measures to promote the awareness of mental health being. This is what I want to focus on. So this pandemic has caused a huge impact on our social life. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Anyone who wishes to take it forward? Students, any of you?
I'll take it forward, sir.
Go ahead.
It's I'm Ayush Vidhani, IAC for 4th SEM, and I agree to Anushka 100%. She took up a good point of mental health. Actually, mental health is very much affected, and now due to the smartphones are now the window to the world. That's how we can just look at the world now. And mental health is affecting me very badly. 12 hours a day I use phone, and now it's very difficult for me to cope up with that. And social interaction, as a human, social interaction is essential to every aspect of our health. Research shows that having a strong network of support or strong community bonds fosters both emotional and physical health, and it is important component of adult life. And as the age, we are now early 20s, it affects us the most because we are used to it. And what the things we are used to it, if we won't have the things, if someone snatches us from doing that, it's very difficult for us. Being socially isolated is terribly unhealthy. The coronavirus has changed how we work, play, and learn. Schools are closing, sports leagues have been cancelled, and many people have been asked to work from home. We are surviving through pandemic because of technology. Who thought this technology would be leading us to this point? More than that, what we know about shocks like this and system change is that they can have lasting effects on people's values. We know societies that go through war generates strong ties. This pandemic is far from a war, but it requires pulling together, which is possible socially. And social media is letting us through it. Even the actors, even the business tycoons, all of them are just using social media. Social medias are the last thing of socializing us. And when people realize what collective action can achieve, it could change how they relate to others, resulting in greater sense of community. one aspect of life that has been badly affected is outbreak in the culture also. But it's a bit different from socially. In many countries, the doctors are professionally as well as socially affected, not only us.
Okay,
For
so
example, like
in the interest of time, could you also, okay, we need to give other chance. It's good that it's a well scripted what you're speaking about, very relevant, but can we hear from others, because we still have 5 people to, it's a good
sure,
thing.
sure,
Let's
sure, sir.
yeah, so just
Can I?
anybody, yeah, please go
Okay,
ahead.
can I start on? Yeah. Good afternoon to one and all. I mean the teachers and my dear friends. I am Pooja of IS Department second year. COVID-19 is not only a challenge globally, but also a test for human spirit. Okay, this year 2019-20 has brought due to the spread of COVID-19 pandemic is having a great impact on social life. So to begin with, I completely endorse what you said. To add upon, we always we are 20. This generation kids are more into phones and a network, so the self isolation and lockdown have also been helping in preventing us from spread of COVID-19. But to look upon the downside of it, there is a lot of symptoms of traumatic stress, the stress of anxiety, confusion, anger, which has led to a lot of domestic and family violence. And due to this networking or the social network part, when I have to talk about it, people are actually making a lot of misuse of social network when they're actually I mean, sending a lot of wrong information, wrong information about the COVID-19. Especially these criminals and hackers are actually making exploiting the situation. There is a rise in coronavirus themed malicious. I think maybe some 16,000 cases have been registered because of this. So some people are and due to this coronavirus 19, there are many people. There is an impact on many lives of many people, especially those people who work for daily wages. And and I think people are actually getting suffered a lot due to the spread of coronavirus. So but then I there are a lot of government laws and economic policies that are coming out, but there is a lack of clarity in what do I t- there is a lot of lack of clarity in how they are implementing it, and people are actually going through a lot of trauma or mentally that the self isolation and lockdown are to an extent good, but many people are actually suffering from it. So I think there is a lot of impact on social life of the people. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Who else has not spoken? Jump in.
Hi, sir. My
My
name
name
is
is
Sagar.
Pinaki Mukherjee.
Okay, Pinaki, I'll talk.
Yeah, go on, carry on.
So at least youth, we are more, I think more advantages are more lucky because older people and people with disabilities, they're the most disadvantaged people and lucky people. They won't get the proper medical attention. It's not affordable. Everyone are busy with their coronavirus. The doctors are busy with the coronavirus cure and treatment. And small kids, babies, where they go, those parents are doctors. They don't get to see their parents for a long time. I think they are affected for a long time. And about daily wages, who don't get a proper money to eat daily. And instead of doing like services gathering more people, we can give a home to home delivery, like delivering food from home to home to people who really need it. I think that's a better option, and that's all I guess. My friends are already filled in more. Pinaki, continue.
Yes, my name is Pinaki. I'm from fourth semester ICT department. So I like to give an example on that how we are impacted from this COVID-19. Like you may know that today is a new year, so we all like to gather around and celebrate this day. Many of us do, but due to this situation, we are not doing this year because this lockdown situation. We are not allowed to go out from our homes, so we are all celebrating like through social media only. We are all connected through social media, and that is all because of this. This is a huge impact on us, on our life.
Sure, please.
Yeah, I'm Sanjana from the IC department. Like my friend said, I totally agree with them that it has isolation has a lot of impact on us negatively, like anxiety and depression. But on the flip side, I would say it has given us a lot of time to spend with our family. We are catching up with all the quality time we have missed out. And we all have interests which we wanted to hobbies and interests which we wanted to pursue, but we couldn't due to other priorities. Like we all wanted to paint, or we wanted to read a book, learn a language. I think this is an amazing time to do all that, to improve yourself, to work on yourself. And yeah, these are the upsides, but definitely there are major setbacks to other class of people, like the lower income people. Like they are having a major crisis in their daily life, like food especially. They're not able to get daily essentials. And I think we could help them by organizing small groups and like distributing daily essentials to them, and like transport items and just be more helpful to them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, anybody else, please?
Good afternoon, sir.
Mhm.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Ria, and I'm from the IIC department. In my opinion, I feel that coronavirus and this COVID-19 pandemic is an unprecedented one, and one that our world wasn't ready to handle at all. Actually, it came as such a huge surprise that, with all this technology that we have mustered up, and all the science and all the medicine that we have, cannot cure this thing yet. And the major setbacks that this world is facing right now, the coronavirus pandemic can even lead us into a global depression. Saying that we have so many setbacks and so many negative impacts is not the only thing that coronavirus actually has. Most of the people in our country, for example, belong to a below average poverty line. And those are the people who get affected the most. We are fortunate enough to have a home and to have a place to stay in and some sort of a mean to protect ourselves or to give ourselves shelter, food. We as a human race have come down to our absolute basics, and we have realized that there isn't much that we can protect ourselves from when we are faced with such a global pandemic. It's almost as if it's nature's way of retaliating towards the human race for all of the impacts and all of the disbalance that we are causing to it. So in order to just overcome this COVID-19 pandemic, wouldn't put an end to it. If it's not COVID-19 pandemic, history has shown that there is more than one pandemic that has affected us. This will not end here. It's going to keep continuing. It's going to keep coming back in different forms. And we are just trying to stop a small part of nature's force. So what we should focus, and the most important thing that I have seen in all of the news and that I've read, is that with all our human beings staying back at home, most people working from home, and even with all the setbacks that are there, the environment is restoring itself. The world is coming back, and for example, the ozone depletion is reduced tremendously. The animals are returning back to its natural habitats. If we can contribute to preserving our world, we wouldn't have to face such pandemics in the future. In terms of social life, it's a matter of opinion, I suppose. An extrovert would probably feel very shunned out to sit inside their homes and not have any kind of social life at all. But an introvert would probably love this time because this gives that person a lot of time to hone their skills, create new hobbies, even spend time alone with themselves. Like for me, I really love reading books. So this has given me a chance to reflect on myself and understand that I should probably provide a little more, whatever I can do to preserve the nature. Maybe take part more in eco world preservations or cleaning drives or any of that sort of thing. Thank you.
Oh, okay, thank you. Anybody else, please? I think we covered about 6, right? 2 more left. Or we covered everybody. So fantastic. I will let any of ma'am, Soumya ma'am, before I do the debrief, and I have small presentation to run also, so that we'll close it with that. But before, I would let any of you could pitch in. And to be honest, I learned a lot. I mean, just because my boundary has been only at work, but hearing all your viewpoints from really, it's a very good topic. I have got a lot of points from you all. Thank you very much. Ma'am, Soumya ma'am, and your team, anybody wants to pitch in?
I would like to speak to each of these students, or I would like to send a message to each of you. At the outset, I think for a first session, you guys have done commendably well. So one round of applause to all of you.
Good job, guys.
You were very confident. And
Thank you, ma'am.
can we clap?
Thank you, ma'am.
I don't know whether my action is visible, but then nevertheless, I think being the very first time that you're doing your group discussion on a very formal setup here, I think it is a job well done. There are a lot of plus points, brownie points for doing certain things extremely well. And there are areas of improvement. That's what we would like to discuss. And this session, I would want actually Mr. Mohan to take over completely because getting his time is going to be difficult. And each of you have the numbers of the respective faculty members. And we would want Mr. Mohan to utilize this entire session and apprises of all the important points, facets of the group discussion, as also give a brief about how the students are presented. Unless any other trainer would like to pitch in or would like to add his or her comment. Thank you, Mr. Mohan. Thank you, students. It was brilliant. But Mr. Mohan, I would like you to take forward from here. Is there any other trainer who would like to add a point or two at this moment?
No, ma'am. I think this point of time is for Mr. Mohan time.
It's
Yes,
okay.
so Mr. Mohan, we would like to pass it on to you, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Should we end this session and start off a new thing, or continue with this? Okay. So you are able to see the my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wonderful.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So how to crack the door? This will be shared after this session. What is a group discussion? It's actually a methodology. It's to agree a group objective, because the outcome is, as a teamwork, we have to agree on an objective. It could be business problem, it could be a pain problem we are trying to save. All today's world, it is very relevant that we are solving a pandemic situation. This GD is a very common. I mean, today, every hour you will have, whether it could be health professionals. So there will be some common outcome has to be done. But in a real selection criteria, unfortunately, this is seen as an elimination, because what happened is primarily in selection process, we went through everything and we kept GD in the last. I mean, but today's world, GD is the entry criteria for any selection. I'll be honest with you, it's all about elimination today. So, imagine you are a distinction, you're academically achieved a lot, and for you to get rid of, go out of GD, it's a real pain. You will feel very bad that I've been eliminated in a GD, whereas I have all the credentials. So that's why we are insulating you. I'm sure Madam and the group, between them, they would have more than 150 years work experience. I mean, I can't even count. Not that I'm saying how old they are. I'm not giving an age factor here, but the experience factor, I'm sure they will handhold you with so many sessions they have in place. Maybe once the lockdown comes, they'll grill, and you still have 2 more years, right? So, so make sure you give a lot of importance to GD. Very important. I've seen, especially for technical people, I will cover a little bit what are the topics you will eventually get in a GD. So I'll just move a little bit higher. The usual time duration is about 15 to 20 minutes. There will be topics like factual. Today it's good. Today what we discuss is more of factual scenario, what is happening around our society and community and social pandemic. You're able to me. So it could be that controversial topic, or it could be a case study. You would be given a case study and there will be a discussion about it, or it could be an abstract topic. Something I could give a colored black, and I'll expect you to talk about 15-20 minutes. What will you talk about on a colored black? An abstract, or they could show you a painting or something. Especially in Googles of the world, they would want some creativity skills coming up, right? So they're factual, controversial, abstract, and case study. So these are some of the topics you could see. So what you are judged on, right? You're able to see my screen, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So what is communication skills? Absolutely. It could be your voice. Today, everybody spoke very well. The clarity, of course, a little bit of energy, and we could have as a collective thing. But what we look in the GD is absolute communication skills. The way you, when it says communications could be body language, the tone, how the assertive skills, right? Very important. Where you're going to lower your pitch, where you're going to raise, that everything is going to be watched upon, right? So first is communication skills. Who takes the initiative? Who takes the risk? I saw Prakriti, right? Who started off? I just noted down.
Sir,
Who started off?
Prakriti
Yeah,
sir.
Prakriti, you started. Kudos to you. So in real sense, initiative, definitely you will be noticed. In some extent, we'll also select you because you have shown that first initiative, the energy and your enthusiasm, your positive attitude, right? So that you whoever is going to, in some cases, we'll call you out by name who's going to start, but most of the time we will let people do the the self initiation we are looking at, right? So the next one is assertiveness. Probably again here we may have points to agree, disagree, right? You have to sometimes put your own points and stay with it, right? So you cannot be saying tagging along with adding points to other people. Sometimes your own points stand out, right? What it means is your viewpoint of you might have a valid reason. You could be a differentiator in all this. So you have to be seen that rather than being a passive and agreeing agreeing to your teammates, right? Sometimes you have to go with your own point. That's what it means. And teamwork is very important. See, here you have to put a team. See, like for example, simple things like where you're going to say our team today has got a wonderful topic. Of course, we didn't summarize here, but we didn't have time. But next GD, probably somebody should summarize also for the staff to note down. So here, what you could say, while you're summarizing, you can say that our team collectively has given some inputs. I like my teamwork here, and a lot of things, because a common objective has to be done by teamwork. Otherwise, individual opinions, then it will lead it to a debate. So this is not a debate, this is a group discussion, right? So teamwork is absolutely, of course, we'll all have points, differing points, but at the end of the day, collectively, we are resolving an objective, right? That is what teamwork. So leadership, again, here, who is going to talk about, who took the initiative? That itself demonstrate leadership, right? So you are also, sometimes it so happens, as a group, you would be watching, you were also expected to take a lead and say somebody was not spoken at all. Probably you might just prompt that person, right? If you know the person, or you can say one of our friend here has got some valid points. Let us hear from them, her or that person, or him, right? So demonstrate that, but don't be taken as a leader that you're not there to orchestrate the whole GD, right? Some few subtle hints and listening and other stuff, because eventually the leader will have all, you have to have all the skills, listening skills, right? Communication, thinking on one's feet, right? So yes, this is a very common topic we gave, but sometimes it could be very, very technical as well. So you have to have your own facts, data points, your own experience, your own subject knowledge. You have deep dives, something you have done studies, something you have researched, something you are aware of, right? Probably, in real sense, you could have, there's something called pestle analysis, political environment, social, technology, legal aspects. So you might have a lot of things. So you have to think on your own feet rather than just tagging along with the discussion, right? For that, that's why I'm saying a lot of preparation. For now, today we slept over this topic from yesterday, but sometimes you will not get this luxury of giving topics in advance. But today is a pilot. It's okay, but sometimes you are given only 5 minutes, right? So you will get a chance. So your thinking on your own feet is very, very important, and it comes quite natural. Some of the stuff, right? Sometimes your experience will come out. Worked in that domain, you would have worked in some artificial intelligence, you would have worked in project work, internship. So all that has to come out, right? That is gives an edge. So creativity, again, very much in Googles of the world, you're going to be working in today's world, 4 things: innovation, creativity, design thinking, right? And then entrepreneurship. These are the 4 things people are looking for. Then nobody's asking you whether you got 75% distinction, rank, IITs. Yes, that's all very important. That is a selection criteria. But eventually, today, what is, if you really see, so much of innovation has happened. People are using creative skill. I mean, you see in WhatsApp, right? People are simple masks, homemade masks, how much of creativity they are demonstrating, right? It could be anything, right? Social distancing. So ensure that this in the discussion points, some of the creative things you have. Sometimes people come naturally, right? They have a lot of skills in this area. Reasoning ability. So if you are saying something, you are stating something, you have to come up with what is that reasoning, why you are putting across. Because there are sometimes there are people could challenge you. Even in the GD session, you are allowed to. It's not that every point you are going to challenge. Sometimes even the facilitator can challenge you. Why are you reasoning? So make sure you have few points in defense of what is your discussion points. Ensure that you have proper reasoning why you are doing it. So now preparing for group discussions, very important. The more you know, better it is. I mean, this COVID now. I think I learned from this 17 minutes topic so much you are given me. I was just thinking about how this whole thing, but you talked about emotion, you talk about social things, isolation, distancing, how much is creating an impact. So you gave pretty much everything, right? Right. So I think you got the gist of it. So if I ask you, ironically, if I take one subset, if I talk about the pandemic, how it's going to affect, this is what the mind map you should give. It's very relevant. You cover in a broader perspective. Talk about how it impacts our sleep, how it impacts our stress, how does it impact our exercise, how does it impact our diet. I mean, this is a subset how a pandemic is having an effect on the health. But on the positive thing, you should stress on more than the being, talking about everything negative. You say, in this situation, how would I help? Getting up on time, maintaining hygiene, self-care. Because in business world, you cannot be lethargic, right? And not that I share every day. I get up morning and the routine is same, right? What sort of diet? You cannot overeat now. You cannot afford to fall sick because there's no hospitals going to take you. So this is what just giving a tree a little bit of a deep dive. It could be any topic. If I give you replace this with an artificial intelligence, you should talk about it. Or if it could be an open source, or it could be your own network thing, right? So just give a mind map and create. It'll help you, and be aware about the social aspects as well. So this is, talk about in this scenario, how much it's going to put an effect on the healthcare system, how people are going to, already we talked about economic situation. I think today government also is saying how much we have to help the deprived, below poverty, what is going to be an effect on the social, the stigma, the people are losing job. People who had COVID, people are throwing them out of the houses now, though they have recovered. So what sort of rehabilitation? Look at things like larger perspective, right? This is we call pestle analysis, usually done for management, but be aware. And you can also, what it means, legal aspects, the environmental aspects, right? So you divide this, your structure of thoughts, very clarity. You can do it. Couple of times you do this as an exercise. You will bucket everything, and it will be very logical, and you will be surprised. You get so much thing. So keep your ideas safe. What it means is you hear the people during the discussions. Don't let everything, but somewhere at some stage you need to give that ideas come out. But till that, keep it. Practice hard, and that is where your madam has taken initiative. I don't know. I mean, other colleges are still running the normal Zoom classes. I do teach as well, but this is the first time I'm seeing this soft skills and GD. So practice and practice hard. Look at the YouTubes. Manage your insecurities. When I say you could have communication issues, or it could be the topic, or it could be make sure you practice. If you you are in second year, You have another year to go. You have plenty of group discussion, participate in other college festivities, online forums, or listen to people. You come out of it, right? Now, the expectation is, I'm sure now you are COVID certified or Corona certified. You can tell the world, I survived this. It could be so many other things. I had constraints in my own family, personal situation. But I'm here now. I'm ready to face the challenge, face the world, and you go and get a thing. They say always only the dead fish. With what it means, you can't be just with things will fall on your lap. You have to show some energy. See, learn from new things. This is what it means. The picture means a lot of things. So some of the techniques we have. Okay with the time, right? We are okay with the
Yes.
time? Yeah. So some of the thing, start using that initiation technique. In any forum, always be the first. The best thing is raise your hand and say that, let me take the opportunity. You always thank the group. Sir, it's a wonderful topic. Let me take the opportunity. Let me start. Let me initiate. These words they want to see, because in any customer meetings also, customer is always looking at the vendors to start, right? We cannot go and sit at customer face and look at them, and then the meeting will go nowhere. So the whoever starts, and be prepared when you go. And also when you start, ensure that you have enough. If you say that, if you are, for sometimes the it might be very difficult, right? So in that sense, just stay back, let somebody else take the initiation, because sometimes you might run out of ideas. So you step back, you listen to few people, and then you get your thoughts and you jump into it, right? I've seen in some cases people who are jumped in later, because then they have got the all-round view of the topic. But like I said, you have to speak, right? High risk, high gain. Main body of the discussion. Always have some, this is how you're going to structure. You start with a quote, right? Start with, in this case, somebody talks about change, be the change to see in the world. You start always, you maybe you have read somewhere, maybe you have read a book. Start with some definition, right? Sometimes there could be a topic which is relevant to that. Start with some, relevant, right? And start with asking a question. It is not that you are just there to. Sometimes you might ask the group, do you know, are you aware how much of thing impact has got? You know, a team, do you know? You address as a team there, don't address as individuals. Team, you can ask as a question. Start with facts. If you know that something, you can start, but it has to be very verifiable facts. Somebody who can go and validate. Don't give your own stuff. Start with some, you are allowed to do statistics. Maybe start with a short story. Don't start off with some grandma story once upon a time, because you only have limited time. So just start with something, I came across, I heard of this, I've read about this, I've seen it myself, something, right? And then grab some attention, but don't make too dramatic here. There's no theatric happening here. Little bit of a thing, and be relaxed, calm, smile. Don't be too calm that you're going to sleep also. Then somebody has to wake you up, right? They'll say the GD session is over, Mr. Be relaxed, be calm, listen, active. All that is positive language. Smile. Be keen, be seen, be heard, right? Listen to everybody, right? Listen to everybody attentively, because the listening skills is what we are looking. One of the parameter is also in a group, they're looking at everything. In fact, to be honest, you will see people would now record online GDs, and they might go on back and go to the backstage, and then they look at everything. How many people are listening? Are they cleaning? Or they're twiddling the thumbs, or doing their own stuff? And then stay alert, focused. Right? It's not that you have a time to yawn or anything. Always just straight focus, because that 25 minutes, half an hour is what it gets foot in the door. Absolutely, right? Like I said again and again, you might have the best brain, but if you can't do this GD exercise right, then you will you will think, you will have self-doubt. Why am I not clearing GD? Because that means you're not affected. You're not staying focused. So quality is more important. It is not that I appreciate somebody who started off. I think it was a well scripted. I mean, I'm not critiquing because we gave enough time. It was good that you collected all the points, but sometimes speaking more than required is also a problem. Quality is more important, more than the. It's not that, oh, I've spoken 5 minutes of the 20 minutes. Looks like I'll get a job. Right? That is not it's not true. It's always the quality of thoughts, quality of structure, quality of topic, that is more important. Speak at least 2 to 3 times. If you don't speak, you are out. I'm telling you, if you don't speak, they'll put a red mark. And in sometimes they'll give a last chance. If you don't speak, then they'll ask, Mr. Kumareshan, can you summarize? I mean, they won't embarrass you saying that you're not spoken, but subtly they still want to give you another chance, right? So at least speak 2 to 3 times. Don't miss out thinking that I've done it. Now I'm going to relax. I'm just going to listen. It's not about that. Sometimes, like I said, you could be not agreeing to a point assertively, right? So you step in. Myth, again, the more is better. Quantity, it is a myth, but you speak less, that is more. Do not dominate. I mean, this was a very subtle, very nice, but in real time, you will might get up, physically. Don't do that. I'm just saying, this is just a picture showing. Don't look worried or anxious. That is because if you look worried, I think it's just because you're not prepped very well, right? Your self-confidence, your communication, your body language. See, I'm telling you, New Horizon is one of the best institution, private institution. This amount of things they are prepping you, no other colleges. You ask your friends, you go to UVC or government colleges, nobody even bothers you, right? But here, the preparation is taking much early, right? 18 months before, so don't be worried. Like, eventually the day will come, you will face this, but there's the last mile, you will get many opportunities. So all your anxious, your worries will go away, and the placement, the whole entire team will do a fantastic job. Okay, and just last few slides, 2 more slides. So these are because you are a technical. These are some of the topics you will get. Can artificial intelligence replace human intelligence? What about big data? Is India ready for 5G? Yes, India is ready, because today, ironically, out of 1.3 billion, they say 26 million people are connected every 24/7, right? We need this infrastructure, telecom. It's very relevant that is India ready, or we have to have that 5G. What are the challenges in an IT industry? What are the pros and cons of artificial intelligence? So I think the New Horizon team will take forward with probably next batches. Don't give away these topics to your friends. Keep it discreet, because if you go, then the whole thing will be lost. Think about cryptocurrencies. That means the awareness should be there. It is not just your topic. You're just going to talk about Java programming or network design or a OOPS concept or C or C advanced. You have to talk about analytics, big data, blockchain, crypto, data warehousing, data mining, IoT, 3D. You see so much stuff they have done last 2 weeks. 3D printing. You see IISCs, IIM of the world, the drones are flying everywhere. So people said, oh, where is IT here? Now you see the entire today, even there's putting that chemicals using drones. How much of technology now is seen? Now today, Prime Minister talking about app, right? They say after he spoke, somebody was giving a data, 26,000 people are doing every second download. See, somebody has to tell, right? The leader has told. Now that app has been downloaded so many times. So make sure you are aware of technologies. Make sure you are well read, the deep science about all this. And the general, sometimes you get general GD topics also. Like today we talked about pandemic. It could for an MBA, it could be another set of interviews. It could be a generic topic, make in India, or privatization, or public partnership, or it could be education system. So be aware. Like I said, you have to that pestle analysis. You should be aware. So I think with this, most of the thing I have covered. But any questions you have? I'm open to questions. You are able to see this Word document? Should
Yes.
I just increase?
Yes, sir. It's okay.
Okay. So just the word boss. Keep all this. I'm going to share everything for you. Like I said, I just want to summarize with this small note. Keep this forever. Okay. These are some of the notes. You have competitive edge over the other students. You know, for example, your own computer science, it is not that they are ahead of you. You could beat them. You know, if you're knowledgeable and you know, in a 20 people or 8 people setup, you will have everybody. EC students, computer science, IS. So don't miss out the opportunity that you are already showing that lead friend of others, right? So it's a methodology where people are going to gauge the candidates' traits, ability. Again, I think it's summarizing, reasoning ability. One thing I missed is flexibility. In a discussion about flex, what it means is sometimes you may have to agree, right? You have to bend. You cannot be rigid saying no, this is not how it is. Sometimes as a team you have to agree upon, yes, there are certain, however there are pros and cons. Be flexible, be participating in that discussion, right? And then what it means is the interactive skills. How good are you communicating, right? How do you behave? What sort of importance, how much importance do you give as a group objectives? How do you listen to a viewpoint of others, right? I think I talked about on factual. Today's it was more factual. The education policy, tourism, which is another thing. Even controversial. Should we have controversial? Will US have a normalized relationship with China? Right. That is very bit controversy. You know, knowing the situation now. Abstract could be anything. Intangible. You know, it could be Corona itself. Do you know anything about that virus itself? Right. Very abstract. And the case study. Now here, especially it's morely done for management, but it's also done for engineering. I've seen they give a business problem. They might ask you, how do we come up with a solution, address this solution, probably a technical solution. So this is where they're looking at your technical expertise to come out. And I have seen in NITs when I went for campus, because just to be honest, it's not about due respect to everybody, their IQ, and of course they're well, you know, with all that. But we give a different thing. We give a case study well. But what we do in that scenario, we give a very complex case and then be prepared for that. In future, you might get this, right? You know, why we give also will be very interesting. Sometimes to get ideas from you. It is not that we, after 30 years experience, I would have everybody. It is simple. You might have so much creativity that if I listen to you, 8 people talking, if I have to resolve my business problem, I might get ideas from you also. So it works both ways. So there's some etiquette. Please speak pleasantly, politely, address like body language. You know, don't point fingers. Respect contribution. You thank thank the team, thank the facilitators. It's not an argument, right? Try and stick to the topic, right? Don't waver off. You know, if you start wavering and then it lose the gist of the whole topic, then you know, in some cases it's very embarrassing. The GDs have been stopped and none of them have been selected. First 4 minutes they've stopped the GDs, and it's very embarrassing even for us. The reason is people are talking something else, you know, and they restart. In some cases they have restarted, still they have not done well. So always stick to the topic, the scope of the discussion. Why we saying is, even in the business world, nobody wants to beat the bush. You tell, see, today you all listen to you know, our prime minister. He cannot be talking everywhere, right? He's stuck to what it is. Maybe he has rehearsed it, he has been taken, he has got all the inputs, but the discussion was very specific. There's no ambiguity here. You know, when you come out, he has given 7 things. Everybody, you ask a 4th class student, you ask what are the 7 things, they will tell. So we stick with that. That is the scope. So today we couldn't judge your body language, ensure that you don't sit too, you know, relaxed or twiddling a thumb or disinterested or, you know, putting your hand on your face. You know, don't lose your temper, don't shout. Don't too many finger pointing, I said, right? Don't do too much of personal excel, too much of your own story. Talk about very generic. And the last, I just want to show you that a little bit on this. I'll show you. This is how we evaluate. This is the real, this is not, I didn't make it up. This is how each companies will have their own selection criteria. They give 40 marks. It could be, they may have additional parameters. It's just a, for you guidance. We will have, we'll list the names. And then we will, sometimes two people will be monitoring you. One person facilitating group is very hard. Somebody will be taking all the notes. So communication is 10 marks. How much of aggressive, passive, and so what is the best to be here? What is the best style of communication?
Assertive.
Assertive, fantastic. You're already GD certified here. So personality. So what sort of antidote? How do you composure, right? How do you draw back when you say personality composure is also how you in the discussion itself, how you bring. So sometimes that's where the leadership thing comes. You might say that, team, I think we are wavering. We are now going out of the bound. Let's come back to the thing, right? And your positive attitude. Say I gave a mind map about health. If I could be talking everything about negative, about what people are dying, statistics, but if I put a positive spin, yes, one is your own lockdown, isolation, self. What will you do? These 4 parameters: diet, exercise, so much of positive things you can. That is where you demonstrate your attitude and the clarity, how much of knowledge you have, a deep dive on the subject. I'm sure you with just 4 semesters, you still have 4 more semesters, plus you have other stuff. You have a long way to go, but be aware, when you're free time, see what is the technology trends, how much innovation is happening. Everything is only 4 things. Like I'm telling you, innovation, creativity, design thinking, entrepreneurship. Everything stops with these 4 things. And then your leadership. So your team spirit, everything is visible, right? So I think with this, I'll stop with this. Any questions? I'm happy to take. I hope I covered, with this 40-50 minute session. Any doubts? Anything?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I'm Prakriti. So my doubt is, any person who starts the group discussion. So for any topic, there could be positive aspects and there could be negative aspects. So as the person who's initiating it, what should they put forth first? Should they put the positive aspects or should they put the problems that are to be addressed?
Always put the positive they want to hear. Nobody would want negative to start with. However, you should still come back and you say that, look, while everything's said and done, we started on a good note, on a positive note. However, I would also have other aspects. I would still want to cover up a few other things which we all should, highlight those as well. But always start with the positive. It gives energy. It gives a bit of a thing, the whole team will be spirited. Because if you, even for us, why I'm relating this is when we start a meeting, we always start, if you start on a negative, the bosses won't like to hear that. He says, okay, you started, give me the solution. Okay. So I think what we could do is, in some cases, if it's inevitable, yes, you start. But however, you talk about the solution as well. But start with positive things, but come back and close it with other points too, saying that, there are, however, could be disadvantage or cons of it, or after thing, or there will be negativity. Few things which, because that puts the subject in closure also. See, there is in what we call in IT world, there's non-functional, functional, and exceptions also. For everything there we have to, for today, it's not about us individually, right? I think PM also addressed, how do we look after the poor people? It's not that, their fault that 40 million people are in roads and streets and migrants, but how can we help them now? That is what we all know. We have been lucky under the roof. Thank God we have our 4 meals a day, if not extra, putting on weights and other stuff. But Imagine that person who is waiting for 2 meals a day, right? Yes, that's not seen as negative, but at the same time, how do we cope with this? How do we now maybe alleviate the fears for them? Those are things, but you cover it at some stage. Yes, is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Answered you? Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? I'm sure, see, the staff, Life Skill Club, they have plenty. They've been doing last 4, 5 years. They've seen you hundreds and hundreds of students. I'm sure they'll go through much more teeth and combing, and they'll shape you. Don't worry. You're in good hands. That is the best part. You have very experienced people. So they have taken a lot of effort, putting together today. And you won't be, at the end of the day, New Horizon is what? Looking at 100% placement. So for that, they are the ones who are going to be enabling you. They have taken their own time, and they'll take interest. I'm 100% confident. So, but you have to do some on your own too. It is not that, somebody will babysit you and somebody will take care of you. But you have to do. They'll show you the path, and then you take it forward. Yeah. Anything
Mr.
else?
Mohan, I have a question. Mr.
Yes.
Mohan, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Yeah. See, many a time we tell our students, like, as much as initiation is important, so is the final summary. So marks are given to people or students who come forward to summarize the entire discussion by making relevant notes and, alluding to each and every point of the speaker. But sometimes what happens is they make a wrong judgment. When there is a lot of time left, they go and summarize. And we tell our students that once a summary is made, you cannot add further to the conclusion. So given a situation like this, do we extend this for our students, or they have lost the time?
I mean, today's world, today you are talking about now?
No, in general, we have faced it because when we conduct a 10-minute group discussion, students, because of their own interest, sometimes when the 8th minute or 7th minute itself, they just go and summarize. They think that by doing that, they'll give them extra marks. So what they have done is they have prevented the other students from actually continuing the discussion or utilizing the remaining part of the time. Yeah.
So always listen to the instruction of the employer or the facilitator. You cannot take that thing, wait for the decision, wait for the instruction, because the instructor will tell you when to summarize, right? So don't take a lead and saying in summarize, or in some cases, to be honest, if you have some more time, use that thought, right? Where sometimes, see, this is where I've seen a lot of students don't even bother to take book and pen. They think, oh, some topic will come. So why don't you take, first of all, ask permission, are you allowed to take book and pen? In some cases, they don't allow you, but in some cases, they allow you. Most of the time, they allow you. So you articulate, use, that time, like Madam said, you have 4-5 minutes more. Use that time to jot out some of the stuff. Or sometimes what happens is, if they put you on the spot to summarize, then you are gone. Then you don't even know what people have talked about it just because you finish your points. So it will be good that you keep it ready in case they pull you for summarize. But otherwise, wait for the instruction. On behalf of the team, you cannot summarize. And don't look at very oddly the time, feeling see, I'm sure if I let you this COVID, we can talk till the cows come home. We can touch on so many aspects, which we didn't do it. We had very limited time. So I'm sure once, that is the whole objective of group discussion. It's brainstorming ideas from each other, learning, and, collective input. So there's a lot of things you will get out of it. I got out of it, even agree or not, I got first hand, though I read papers and everything, but you have spoken what you have felt, and some of you are very honest about it, that say, I'm in this situation, it has affected me like this. So people will, you don't take that, wait for the instruction for summarizing. Otherwise, you will lose marks, because like Madam said, you are cutting somebody else's interest, and then somebody else cannot then join or add on or something, unless you have to wait. And that's why I'm saying sometimes 20 minutes is you feel it might be a longer. That is because they're expecting you, that topic is so deep dive. If I have to talk, on artificial intelligence, you have to talk about machine learning, what it means about machine learning, what it takes to be, what's the difference between machine learning and artificial intelligence. Give some case studies, give some examples, give some industry, give your own things, your own project, your exposure, where you have read about it, practical domain where artificial intelligence talk about. If it's a blockchain, you cannot just say, I know the definition of blockchain in the rest 19 minutes, right? Cryptocurrency. You will have, see, you are expected now, you are a professional 4-year IS or CS degree. You are not from a street, somebody who's just come from school or anything. So that is expected that you have knowledge. Yes, in some cases, very rarity that GD will end soon, but be prepared. That's why I'm saying all this is also, your lean period, what you use this time. So, I will tell you, believe it or not, I'm running boot camp. Yesterday I am supposed to train 10,000 people now. I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you, 10,000 people are going to be on the bench this quarter. Don't tell outside the story. Now, how do I train now? 10,000 people. My boss expects me to start a boot camp. I put a module for it. To do a boot camp, it takes 12 weeks. Who's going to be facilitating? What is online content? How do I bucket? If somebody is in Google, somebody is in AWS, somebody is in Microsoft Azure, right? Now I have to get the data. I have to work with the workforce team, HR. I have to set their objectives. Sometimes management by fear. Sometimes people have challenges. They don't have laptop. What do I do? How do I expect them to finish 12 weeks of training certification? They are in remote places. You can't blame them. There's no power also. Or in that case, we have to tell them, you please work around. It could be in the evening slot. You do your work. In fact, today, there's an emailer from Wipro says, somebody has absconded. They're deemed to be terminated. They're saying 7 days. If you're not put your timesheet, you're not connected to your manager, you're coming under absconding. And it's true, it has happened. People have just vanished. We don't know. For us, it's a well-being of the employee, right? We don't know about contractors. They've just disappeared, or we don't know what's happened. Really, we are worried also. Okay, anything, madam? I think long answer I gave, but
okay.
Anything?
All right.
If we don't have anything, maybe a few words from Dev Ranjan and we can wrap it up.
Thank you very much. Dev sir, you like to say something?
No, that's okay. We'll all do a thumbs up. That's it. Do a thumbs up.
Thank you very much.
Everyone.
Thumbs up. Wish you all the best.
Thank you
all the
very
best.
much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.